Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery. Anthony here, and this might be my most filmed after the fact video thus far on this channel. And I mean this along the lines of, well, I already know what's going to happen in this video. But I felt really guilty for doing this archery test on these points and not including you guys. So I'm filming this now because, well, I feel guilty about not filming it for the whole run up here. So I'll give you guys the breakdown, and in short, we're going to figure out if no grooves on a tungsten point are better or worse than grooves on a tungsten point. In the test, I do use 2 points that are exactly the same color, just in case the color happens to make a difference, which it probably isn't, but that is the test of this video, and I'll let you guys check out how I did it, and you can judge me on how well I actually tested out grooves versus no grooves, and let me know what you think. Alright, so you probably know we're going to need some things to actually do this test. First, obviously, is 2 points, one with and one without grooves. Pretty straightforward. But what you're also going to need is, well, arrows to put them in. Preferably ones that they fit correctly in, such as an Easton X10. This is a cutoff piece from when I was trimming arrows, and, well, I have multiple sets of these, all matching, all the same spine. Can it get better than that? No, but I got dozens of them. So that way our point can slide in perfectly, and well, it's going to be consistent. To hold those points in, we're going to need some propane, a lighter obviously to light it, and this should be CDA. It's that glue. There'll be a link to it in the description. This is the glue that I use. This is the glue I use for the tests. I cut off even pieces and weighed them so that they matched, so I was putting the exact same amount of glue on each point. Now, we must get into how was I applying said glue and to what part of the point. Well, if we look at these points, and well, we take them out of their holders, you can see you have break-offs, and then you have the actual groove section of the point, or the non-groove section of, well, the other point. So my idea was to avoid putting glue on the break-offs. We don't want glue here because they're break-offs. Like, we already know from past experiences and from past points not having grooves that if you get some glue in your break-offs, the points are obviously going to stay in better because, well, there's a giant groove that just happens to let you break off weight. So I skipped putting glue on the break-off sections, and I only put glue on each point right in this midsection here, and I stopped just after this last groove on this side over here. And I did that for both of them. They matched, and I used, well, those same 2 little pieces of measured out glue, and I made sure the whole thing melted. And then I proceeded to slide them into the carbon. So after it slides into the carbon, it looks something like this. And if we break out, not the one without the grooves, if we break out the one with the grooves, we can see, if we line them up, that the grooves will be just inside the arrow shaft, which I think is perfect for this test. It also means, since this was a clean shaft that never had any glue in it, it also means that there is no glue on the break-offs, which we wanted to avoid getting glue on because we already know break-offs with glue will help the arrow hold in, and we are trying to test for grooves and seeing if grooves will improve as additional holders if you happen to break off all the break-offs on your arrow point. And if you do this at home, you should probably use a set of pliers. Don't use your bare hands with hot points. That probably won't work well. With that though, we start moving on to the next section of testing this. So now we have this point in here, all glued in. Well, we're not just gonna hold it with a weight dangling off of it, are we? So I put this in a vise that hung off a table, and that vise was securely bolted to the table that was bolted to the floor, a concrete floor in a garage. And I even made sure to put down some padding, because at some point we're going to push the limits of either the material I'm using to hold the weights onto the point, or the point and glue itself is going to slide out of the arrow shaft. So yes, to hold the weights in place, I used bowstring. It works. BCY makes some good bowstring. This is 8125G. When I first started, though, doing this test, I do have pictures. They're going to be included. No video, I'm sorry. But when I did start doing this test, I used some knocking point string. And it works until you get to about 25 pounds, and then it snaps. We'll get to that next. So now we entered the point of this video where I decided, I may only have a public school education, but I should probably wear safety goggles, or glasses, or whatever you want to call them, because, we're we are putting a carbon arrow shaft clamped into a vise, and we're going to have a point hanging out of it that we're going to go dangle weights off of. What can possibly go wrong? We were already responsible enough to put some carpet down so we don't put a nice crack in the floor. Maybe we should protect the eyes as well. I haven't thought about the whole feet thing. My feet are still all right, but at least the eyes are taken care of. But let's check how I have this rigged up. Yes, this is the end result. Congratulations. But we'll get to that. So, actually taking a look at this contraption here, and this is where it gets a little shady. That is a very squished piece of carbon and aluminum, and it's being held there all right. And this is not focusing that great. And it's being held there with the bowstring, and then we go down to the weights themselves. And yes, that's a 25-pound and a 45-pound weight, and they are definitely that weight because they are quite heavy. So I proceeded to do this test. We started out very modest. We started out with a 5-pound weight, and then I added another 5-pound weight. I started with the point that had no grooves because, well, I figured that was our control, and we should get an idea on where that's going to sit before we go and play with, well, as you can guess, the one that is not the control, the one that has the grooves. So we kept putting weight on, and when we started putting 10 pounds on, the one without the grooves ran into a little bit of a problem. Somewhere around the 15-20 pound range, the grooveless points cannot handle the pull of the weight, and they then proceed to just pull out. The glue just cannot grip enough because it doesn't have a groove to grip into. And this is very important case, because for those of you who don't put enough glue on your points, especially if you don't put that glue on your break-offs, or you're shooting like 100 grains or whatever, you broke off all your break-offs, then you really need to make sure that your point is well glued, especially if the company is not offering grooves on their points. And well, all the big multi-million-dollar companies, for the most part, as far as I'm aware, on tungsten points at least, do not offer grooves at this time. There might be one, but anyway, we're not naming names anyway. I'm just showing you how I'm testing out my own stuff. So with that, it breaks at about 15-20 pounds, and well, it's time to test out the one with grooves. So at that point, I was like, well, we might as well start at about 15 pounds. Slap those on, going good. Let's go up more. Well, at 25 pounds, the Knocking point string just keeps snapping because it can't handle the weight. So we moved to bowstring, which seems pretty strong. It's supporting 45 pounds and 25 pounds like nobody's business, and it's doing a good job at it. So we kept going, and I then, took off all these little small weights because why waste my time with that? We moved to 45 and 25, and that's where we're staying because at this point, the point is not pulling out, but the carbon shaft that the point is in is cracking. So I think in terms of safety, points with grooves, at least from Sure Shot Archery, can support up to, I don't know, what's 45 plus 25? 50, 60, 70 pounds, which is pretty sweet. All right, so there you have it. That is my test of grooved and not grooved tungsten points. Now, these were my points, and the grooves are going to be the new point I am offering. I will actually technically no longer offer non-grooved points because, well, grooves are just clearly superior. Even if we say it's 20 pounds of weight for the not grooved, you're still over double. The ones that the grooves are doing 70. So with that, it's a superior, design for the particular product. It also solves a problem that I don't know if necessarily needed to be solved, but some of the poor quality point glues out there, well, you're welcome. I made your product look better too. At some point maybe I'll have to do a video testing all of that out since I have points on hand and I've had ones that I've tested. Maybe have to go through all the different glues on the market and see what actually holds up. But that would be another video for the future. So with that, definitely check out sureshotarchery.com and pick up our new but now grooved tungsten points for the Easton X10 and X10 Pro Tour. They work great. They seem to be loved by everybody. I did this because I just want to keep improving the product. Again, you got multi-million-dollar companies out there that have whole R&D departments that won't bother to spend the money to make something better for the consumer. So little old me here that's running the whole thing by myself, that's not making anywhere close to multi-millions of dollars because it's literally only me. I can't even hire anybody. Lucky I can't even pay myself. But anyway, yeah, buy the points so that I can pay myself and I can keep making really excellent videos and products for the archery community because this is what I really love doing. And yeah, other than that, now it's getting boring. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And as always, happy shooting. Maybe don't try this at home. It depends. You can try it at home, but it's at your own risk. I don't want to be involved.